Harris began the debate by punting the first question on the economy. It went on from there. Despite the economy being the #1 issue facing the country, the sitting vice president generally reverted to talking points about a few of her policy proposals. Even Harris allies today are saying that she needs to talk more about what she will do for Americans if elected. Senator Bernie Sanders will be here in a second to talk about more about the need for her to fill in some of those blanks. On the border, another vulnerable issue for Harris, she also dodged.
Would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Okay, that wasn't the question. When asked how she would break through the Israel-Hamas war stalemate, Harris said this.
We need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
Okay, but again, how?
Illegal immigration under the Biden-Harris administration and the migrant crime, also a big issue, which he brought up many times, and it's a big issue for voters. Here is the former president on that.
Criminals off the street, and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime, and it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
All right, you can't miss it. I mean, at one point, those lines stopped going together, and independents started going up a little bit higher than Republicans. I mean, they were right up. What is going on with independents? And we better pay a lot of attention to them.
We better. And I'll tell you, it's really interesting because in 2020, we didn't see this. We saw a big split between independents, Republicans, Democrats. It was like, you know, all different. It was like spaghetti lines. What we're seeing now is very much like we saw in 2016, which is independents are tracking very much with Republicans. They're looking for a couple things. They're looking for answers on immigration. They're looking for answers on the economy. They want to hear that things are going to get better for them. And they also want change from what's happening right now.
Did you see that brought you to a conclusion?
I think it's important to remember that we are voting for the leader of our country and not who we like the most or who we want in our wedding party, but who is actually going to make our country better. And we're in an incredibly unique situation where we've had both of the candidates in office before, and we've gotten to see what they would do. And when facts come to facts, my life was better when Trump was in office. The economy was higher, inflation was lower, things were better overall. And now with Kamala's administration, things haven't been so fantastic. And she's saying she can fix the problems that her administration has caused, but I just don't know if I can afford to take that risk.
Politics debate was last night. Not sure if you had a chance to see it or not. Your own economic team, of course, has made news of late, suggesting that the bigger boost to growth would come from the Harris economic plan, at least over the first couple of years. She mentioned it last night. You feel the same?
So that report, which was mentioned last night in the debate, came from an independent analyst. And it's interesting, Scott. I think a lot more has been made of this than should be. What the report did is it looked at a handful of policy issues that have been put out by both sides, and it tried to model their impact on GDP growth. And the reason I say a bigger deal has been made of it is what it showed is the difference between the sets of policies that they put forward was about 0.2%. Okay, so economy grows. Okay, if you took these particular sets of policies they looked at, and by the way, we have no idea whether these policies, these things that are talked about, will ultimately be implemented. What was the growth impact? And the differential was 0.2%. So, you know, I think our clients are trying to look at what's going on from a policy perspective and make judgments. I think this blew up into something that's bigger than what it was intended to be.
Welcome to Unity News. Remember, there is no need to fear. God is in control, and Jesus is King. God calls us to bring heaven to earth. Now, let's get into today's news. The headlines. Americans are growing wary of open borders as the immigration crisis escalates. Independence voters pivot towards truth in the upcoming elections. Media narrative control is breaking, thanks to platforms that support free speech. The immigration crisis. The ongoing immigration crisis has seen millions of illegal entries into the U.S., creating strain on local communities and overwhelming public resources. With elections around the corner, voters are becoming more aware of the consequences of open border policies, especially the violation of national sovereignty and lawlessness. On the positive side, more Americans are recognizing the importance of maintaining the rule of law. This has sparked a greater appreciation for national security and legal immigration. Law-abiding citizens and officials who stand for the protection of borders and the respect of laws are acting in a godly way by safeguarding the nation and upholding justice. Independents are waking up. Independents, often swayed by media manipulation, are increasingly recognizing the falsehoods in certain political campaigns. Particularly, many are realizing the deceptive strategies and empty promises of establishment candidates. This shift is evident as more voters see through the facade of progressive rhetoric. The good news is that truth is reaching these independent voters, reminding them of the importance of morality, honesty, and genuine leadership. Media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, have become a beacon of free speech, breaking the chains of media control and spreading truth. This wave of free expression is helping to align voters with candidates who honor God's values of truth and justice. Biblical perspective. Isaiah 5:20. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness. We live in a time of rampant deception, and people call evil good. But God calls us to stand firm in the truth, discern lies, and bring light to the darkness. Those who seek truth will find it, and they will know the peace that comes from aligning with God's righteousness. We declare that God's truth will prevail in America. Despite the challenges, God is raising up leaders who will stand for justice, morality, and the rule of law. We bless this nation, its people, and our leaders with wisdom and courage to follow the path of righteousness. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment below. Let's spread the truth together. We speak blessings over you and your family, praying that God's peace and guidance be with you in every step you take.